This is the Godcast, because when you have questions about faith, you ask two guys in construction and a smart ass with a bunch of AV equipment
and a entitled doctor.
Self-entitled. Yeah. So you guys are nice boys, and just inevitably when we talk, God comes up.
Well, two people or more.
Oh, jeez. He's already quoting scripture, which Chris and I had already admitted that we are not very versed in. We're not.
No, I'm not either. I do not know the book. I could know much more.
All right. Well, self-deprecating. I like it. And it was last week, I think we were talking on the phone, Nathan, and you wanted to hit me with one of those those phone a friend questions. It's like
like a call a friend landline.
Yeah. But I was
that's it.
But I was talking to my lifeline. My lifeline was asking me the question. What was the question again?
I don't remember. We jumped quite a bit.
No,
I remember the
main question.
The main question.
You don't remember?
With fear?
Yes. What is fear?
What is fear?
That's what you asked me.
Was it?
This is moving so well.
But I don't think we started there. I think we got to that point. But it was more like, that we were talking about how a lot of like propaganda and stuff. Like, we're not gonna get into that. But they use fear to control you, and it's that you can't stop them from using it, but you can stop being afraid, and you do that by having a strong faith. And then there we go. It's okay. And then from there, we were talking about how, what you do yourself to not be afraid. It's your faith. And then we're talking about, understanding, love and what it means the way we know it to mean compared to, the rest of the world that maybe not have the same understanding, right?
Well, what do you mean?
Well, we were talking about how, we were saying how it's so many people argue, any religion really, but they don't know what love means the way Jesus taught it, and for us it's like the back of our hand just because the way we were brought up and everything. But love is such a easy, it's just simple. All he teaches is just love each other the way you want to be loved, and it would be simple. But then you made the point about how a lot of people don't understand what love means. Right? They weren't brought up the way we are to understand the selflessness, and even the ultimate sign of love was Jesus sacrificing himself for us, right? Dying on the cross for us. That's showing how much he loved us. But a lot of people don't understand love in that aspect. It's just more like what makes me happy, what makes me feel good, which is not the same thing. Yeah,
there's a lot of parts to that introduction.
Yeah, it was a long conversation we had.
Yeah, and I think you just
around a lot.
Completely you read off all your lines.
You want to start again?
No. I feel like that would be more torture.
Okay, so start from the first thing I said, and we'll break it all down.
There you go. So, what's fear? You asked me.
What's fear?
All right, let's see if Chris knows, because Nathan forgot.
Okay, there's that rule about you can't use the word in the definition. A lot of people, but I don't know how else to phrase this, but we could start here. Fear is maybe being fearful of the unknown. You're not sure how things are going to play out or progress, and that's scary. But that's where you have to have your faith come in to restore your confidence and your pretty much your confidence to reassure you that what you're doing is true, or to kind of put you back on the right path or something like that.
Yeah, so I had said to Nathan, because I kind of knew where he was going, I'm like, it's a lack of faith. Fear is a lack of faith. Okay, that's good. Which you kind of said anyways, right?
Yeah.
So I just went with the shortest answer.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's good. Lack of faith, that's perfect.
Yeah, I liked it.
Oh, it's a good way to think about it in the context, right? Because a lot of people take fear and they'll just it's such a broad thing, but it is that's one of the things about the teachings is that a lot of them are so simple, you can't argue them, right? It's just if you with who has no sin throw the first stone, it's just so simple, and you can't argue it, right? And that's why I like that's the good answer. The fear is a lack of faith, because that's it. There's no arguing it. That's what it is.
Okay, so let's use real examples, because I'm not making fun of you, but I mean,
No,
because
like,
you're
yeah.
saying statements that are like a little bit like they're kumbaya, meaning like, yeah, everyone can get behind it until you're in a situation where it's like, wow,
No one said it
wait.
was easy.
Yeah, well, it's
the
not
hardest part.
easy because now you're getting into situations where like, well, two people might be saying like, well, I love and I understand and I'll sacrifice, but let's just use the example of like what we went through with lockdown, and there was a debate of like to vaccinate or not to vaccinate. And some people would say the attitude is like, well, I believe in vaccinating because it's for the greater good. And other people will be like, well, I don't believe in vaccinating because it's leading towards a slippery slope of losing your freedom. Because now if you're accepting something because of peer pressure or social pressure, like where do you draw the line of like, I need to take a stand because I'm actually worried about future generations, because then they'll look back at me 30, 60 years from now and be like, if you guys hadn't just like rolled over with this stuff, then we wouldn't be where we have like zero say in our healthcare. So that's where it gets a little bit confusing. And even though you did say like, love is love, but both people, both sides, both camps might make the argument like, well, I did what I did out of love. But now there's like nuances and there's a depth to it where it's like, this is my slant is, if you have a practice of faith, perhaps, as opposed to a general sense of love and faith. Like some people can just say, I believe in God. And other people are like, well, I have a practice. And other people will be like, well, I study and I do my own thing. Whatever, there's different strokes, right? Maybe there's an element of the more someone's practicing something may give them eyes and wisdom to anticipate where things might be going.
Yeah. Wisdom comes from God, right? And you gotta pray and, not, I don't know if meditate's the right word, but like, you have to stop and think about what it is. It's not, and that's hard today with all the hustle and bustle, especially. And, and then, fear comes into it that, I need to do this to provide. I need to do this but that's when you start thinking about want versus need. You don't need that stuff that you're trying, I need to give my kids a better life. And it's like, but do you need to? Or do you need to focus on what's actually important, right?
What's a better life?
Yeah, you're focusing on your negatives in your life and you want to fix those problems. But then that's when you oversee what they really do need. Or you focus so much on that one aspect that you oversee other things, right? But no, it's definitely hard. Like, honestly, for myself personally, like I kind of struggle with my faith because I see it that I could be doing so much more, right? We're called to do so much more and we're given everything we need, right? It's not easy by any means, but to me, it's like, how do you get to decide what is and isn't important?
Well, when you say we're called to do so much more, what exactly do you mean by that? Like, are you saying that you should quit your job and start to go down this whole religious route? Because I think maybe that a lot of people might interpret it like that.
Well, what I always go back to when I think about it, because I've had this conversation so many times, even with my father and other family members, and it's that, we're called to give everything to the poor and spread his word, right? And if everybody did that, nobody would be poor.
Right.
Or we'd all be poor.
Which is all relevant, right?
Yeah. Well, you can't take that literally, as we know.
Well,
I think, right?
Some people take the Bible very literally.
Well,
you can't do that.
But what meaning do you get from that? Like, what's the moral to that story or whatever?
Yeah. I think you got to follow the golden rule. Treat others how you want to be treated. Mm-hmm. You can follow your passion and work the job you want to work. And in that workplace, your 9 to 5, whatever it is, you practice your faith. You practice your relationship with Jesus or God. Mm-hmm. And that is one way that you could, I think it's a very big way that you could be given back, mm-hmm. right? Like, if you could just, in construction, if you could just show somebody, I think most people do, but it's often easy to get frustrated because there's so many different parties involved. But if you can just cool your emotions and explain something to someone or help them out a bit more, if you're not already doing that, then that might give them the example of how to act and how to treat others. Sometimes this is just people just need just one thing and to make their day, and then they'll go home and treat their family the same way.
No, it's true actually. I mean, it wasn't work, but we were driving downtown the other day, Yorkdale, just passing through Yorkdale to get through traffic, and there was a guy that was asking for money, and I had my window down. I wasn't in the lane. I was a couple lanes over, and he just, nice truck, right? And right away, I'm thinking to myself, like, see, you always want that.
Crap.
You always want
now
better.
I got to give him money.
No, it's just, you always want better. And this guy sees my truck, and I'm not that I'm knocking it, but my truck's nothing special. And it's just, you notice that, and it's like you take for granted what you have.
Yeah.
But then I didn't ignore him. I said thank you, and then he was saying how he was also.
You didn't say that. Hey, nice box.
No.
Nice tent.
No. He went on to say how he was waiting to get a call back for a construction job.
Okay.
So right away I said, "Oh, I hope you get it." And right away thank you, God bless you. And I felt it right there. It's like what you said, that little bit that made his day. Right, and it just that.
You should give him a 20. That would have made his day.
Yeah,
but
he wants the green bills.
But it was that little bit that made his day that much brighter, right? And hopefully gave him some more confidence and push to, if he didn't get that call, like keep trying, right? So I get what you're saying, but like, I don't know. For me, it's just not that it's not enough, but I don't know. I just I feel like that symbol of love that we're shown by the sacrifice is just like
yeah. No, you're right, and I don't want to diminish.
No.
Because then if you can do more than what I'm saying,
for
absolutely,
sure. No,
right?
you got to start somewhere.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you guys are in construction, and on a construction site, is everyone an electrician?
No.
Right? So if you want to build something, everybody's got their own trade.
Everyone's got to play their part, or else it won't happen, right? We all got to work together, and the smallest guy is still important.
Well, this sounds like Bible to me, because isn't that the kingdom of God you're trying to create anyways? Because if we all have different callings, that's a concept that I think people maybe struggle with, or they don't think much about, because when they are like evaluating their life and what they're doing or not doing, sometimes they'll be like, well, I mean, so-and-so is, they fly to a third world country and they bring food rations and this and that. And you're like, that person's going to heaven when they die. And maybe, possibly.
Yeah. Well, what I was thinking about today.
Is it related to what I was talking about, or just...
No, absolutely. In preparation for the podcast, I just popped in my head.
Thanks for putting that out there. Are you prepared, Nathan?
I brought notes.
Yeah, no, it's okay. Don't worry. We know you didn't.
My question was, what does it take to get to heaven? And you can read
the easy
Bible,
question, eh?
And you could. I'm sure there's all kinds of different ways, but...
Whoa. You're saying there's all kinds of different ways to get to heaven?
Actually,
that's just the new one. This is me. Remember before we were preparing, I'm like, say whatever you want, but I may still jump on it.
No, that's cool.
Because that's depending on where you go with it, you're gonna get hate. Not for me, but go. Just say it.
Okay, here's why I think there's many different ways to get to heaven.
We're listening.
There's so many different ways that you could be a good person. There's so many different ways that you could practice the word of the Lord, if you will, and read all the Gospels and the Bible and know it inside out and
So you're not literally saying that if you read the Bible you go to heaven?
No, I think it's all about your actions.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, I mean, because in some forms of Christianity, you are saved just by proclaiming Jesus as your Savior, then by that grace alone you go to heaven. Right? That's John 3:16 in a nutshell.
I think that's pretty crazy.
Interesting. That's a hot take.
So
Which I don't disagree with you, because the entire Bible is about how to live. It doesn't say, here, just do John 3:16 and you're good. Because then there's a 1,000 other pages of Bible that are like, what's the point?
Yeah. Well, if that's all you have to accept, that Jesus is the Savior, then that's...
I think also accepting it is pretty, like, it's not easy. Like, you got to accept it in your heart. It's not just a matter of, claiming it.
Oh,
like,
it's just,
bankrupt.
Yeah.
Bankruptcy.
You just don't declare it.
What happened?
But it's, no, for sure. I mean, I think it's not as simple as if there's one way or many ways, but I mean, yeah, it is like, the golden rules are like you said, treat people how you want to be treated. It kind of, again, is simple enough in the sense that it's like, it's kind of broad enough to cover everything to a degree. But yeah, I think there's more to it than just that. And I think it's accepting it is not just, again, it's like, you're going to go up there and he's going to say, you said it, but you didn't mean it.
Okay. All right. So, I mean, we are kind of looking at, you have to act in accordance with what you profess. You actually have to back it up, I guess.
Well, yeah.
Practice what you preach.
Okay, so then how do you practice it? Because like you're describing, give to the poor and spread the word. I mean, I don't think we're actually actively doing that.
No, I think we're far from that.
Is that a problem?
This is why I struggle.
But when you would struggle with what? Struggle with what you're doing in your life?
Well, I don't feel like as much as I agree that, and I do treat, because even in construction, I find that a lot of the guys that I work with, I get along with because they know that I'm more understanding. I'm not like the person that freaks out. I treat people like they're people, right? So I do feel like I live that, treat others like I want to be treated, but it's just, I feel like there's like, maybe it's that I don't understand exactly, like, give to the poor and spread my word. Like, what exactly does that entail?
Well, okay, what if you just like gave some money to the poor? Wouldn't that check that box?
No, I don't think so. But
Chris is all in. Chris is like, I'll
not
give.
sure.
Let me check my wallet.
Yeah, no, I don't think so.
But what? Why?
Because
I feel like you have more to say.
You
You're
can-
not saying it.
you can always do more, right? Like,
Should a rich person give more than a poor person?
but see,
Money?
that I don't think that
Yeah.
matters. I think it's the fact of, give everything to the poor so that
When you say everything,
that's not what he says, no?
is that literal? Give everything?
I think that
Because if you give everything you have to the poor, you just switch spots with them.
This is what makes it so difficult.
that's why.
Well, I mean,
be a little more
I
clearer
don't
in the
know-
book?
I don't know if it actually literally says. Like, we're blaming the Bible for what we don't understand.
Wow.
you can Google it. Want to Google it? You got the laptop right in front of you.
Well, I'm going to do it on my
That's
phone
tough.
just so I don't have to switch screens. But
No, it is tough, but I think that it's that if you're holding on to it, you're not. It's not the same. Like, you giving everything away is like you're now you're that's total faith in God that He's going to protect you and you're going to be okay without it. You don't need it.
you don't need what?
Money.
You don't need money? I mean, Jesus did collect for the poor, and they did own a little bit of stuff to, survive for the day. We don't live in a world where we can just like, just like you're preaching and you just pop up at someone's house.
Yeah, but He didn't say, until 2024 when things get a little messed up. Okay, fine, you can keep a little bit.
Yeah.
But I
I got
mean,
a take on it.
Go ahead.
Maybe what the Bible means by the poor is someone who's poor in a moment,
In need.
someone in need. It doesn't necessarily mean the guy standing under the gardener at Spadina, but maybe it's just somebody who is poor in the moment and they need your help. So you lend a helping hand, whether
Interesting.
it's words, whether it is money. I don't know. Who knows? Need help with demo on their house. Who knows what?
okay,
it is.
I'm going to read 2 lines,
Okay.
and they're in the same chapter of Luke 12. It says, Sell your possessions and give to the poor. Provide purses for yourselves that will not wear out, a treasure in heaven that will never fail, where no thief comes near and no moth destroys. And then earlier, it says, but when you give a feast, invite the poor, the crippled, the lame, the blind, and you will be blessed because they cannot repay you. I mean, if you're going to have a feast, you can afford a feast.
You need some cash.
It means that you don't haven't given away everything.
So maybe it's more closer to the want versus need, right? You just what you need.
Okay. I think that's probably a little bit easier to manage for everyone.
But then do you need to live close to the city? Do you need to
Well, where's your work? What are you trying
There's
to
work everywhere.
Why do I feel like you want to go off the grid?
Oh, we can talk about that later.
Is this Nathan's been like, hey, I don't have a phone no more.
Oh, I would love there was a day, I think it was 2 years ago, where the Rogers Towers went down and they didn't work for like a day. The best day of my life. Best day of my life.
I think Nathan just got burnout.
But
I don't think this isn't a religious awakening. This is like Nathan.
Yeah.
Nathan is
But I like
pissed.
that idea. I just quickly, I think that's one of the most searched topics on YouTube is the wild homestead,
How to
living
live off
grid. Yeah.
live grid. Yeah.
Why
I've
do you
watched
think
so
that
many
is?
videos of that.
Why do you think people want to go off the grid?
Stress, anxiety,
Freedom.
and that's what they want.
Does it give you freedom?
Yeah. Have you been camping?
Have you ran a farm? Have you ran a farm?
Yes, but can
is
you
a farm a lot of work?
But
1,000%.
Yes.
Is it a lot of stress?
Okay. Isn't that what gives your life meaning, though?
What? Work?
Having tasks.
But
to
don't we
do.
all have jobs?
Would you rather stress about
Chickens or patience?
And you're going on your own time.
I mean,
the chickens? Don't argue with you.
Unless they pet
I don't want to bash my patience, but I mean, chickens have chickens. There's
I could become a vegetarian. Grow some potatoes.
No, I think that the living off grid is becoming so important because a lot of people have stress, anxiety in the jobs they do. They're being worked to the bone, and they simply need a break. They don't want to do that anymore, and maybe they're starting to realize that this isn't what I need to give my life meaning. My work is no longer doing that.
well, with that to pick on that, why we're supposing that people feel they have meaning through their work.
Yeah. Because
who says
they're
why?
trying to provide for families.
But that's work being a source of income versus work defining you. It's not the same, is it?
No.
No, because the old guys don't want to retire even though they don't have to because they don't want to stay at home. I know there's many on site.
So what's different about an old guy who's been through it and he actually has come full circle and like just loves the grind of the job versus a younger guy that's like, there's so much wrong here, nothing makes sense, this is not how I would do it, it's broken.
I think it's all they know, right? Like that's what
Well,
they've done
you
for
don't
their
think
whole
that they
life.
were young once and they saw all the flaws in the system? Because
Maybe.
really every system in
Yeah.
the world is broken.
Yeah. Yes, but I think because they've not beaten it, but they've been successful through it.
What does that mean, success? Like money?
Yeah, like providing or whatever they've
And
rise the ranks,
despite there
whatever it is.
being ups and downs and recessions and depressions and no works and layoffs, in the end they still had a career.
For sure.
You feel like sometimes young guys don't know that part because they haven't gotten there yet?
Yeah, I think it's a sense of maturity too. But also maybe things were more attainable back then, where you can work full time for 4 years and afford a house.
There also wasn't as many things to distract you with luxuries, and you need this, you
Yes.
need that.
What's a luxury that you are distracted by?
Oh, so many.
Now
Really?
a house is.
I don't know
houses
things
are
that you
$100.
like. I know you have a nice car.
Yeah, that I don't need.
So,
I'll
well,
be
what
the
do you-
first to admit it.
Well, but what's there to admit? What's wrong with having a nice car?
I don't need it. There's nothing wrong with having it, but that's not necessary. Like if I'm gonna sit, like for me, if I can't afford it, I'll get rid of it. But if it gets to the point where some people are like,
I'm gonna break your phones. Hey, you don't need your phone.
sorry,
That's fine.
sorry, what was the question?
I was bugging you about.
Having a nice car.
I mean, no, I
Luxuries.
wasn't bugging you about that. I'm just. You've got this guilt. You have like I call it a leaky conscience. Like you feel bad for everything. I got this. I got this. Did I need this? What's wrong with having nice things? Did you earn it? Did you steal it?
No, I earned it. But
Okay.
that energy could have gone to something more meaningful.
Like what?
Spreading the word.
Sometimes though, you do need these. How do I put them? I don't want to
Desserts?
say yeah, desserts to
Joy.
yes, and that'll be to.
Nathan's going to
fulfill
say
your
you don't
meaning.
need that either.
Okay, think of it.
Nathan's going to be a monk by the end of this podcast.
There's different ways to
No.
get to obtain joy, right?
I don't know. What do you want to talk about?
Sometimes you need the right tools to do the job correctly.
Yes.
Okay, so you can't be. I don't know, just like you. It's fine to have luxurious.
What's
like
a luxury
car,
to
like
you? Okay, a car.
A luxury to me. Vacations would be a luxury. Mm-hmm. What else would be a luxury? A fancier truck than what I've got.
You don't think the truck that you have is a luxury?
Oh, it is. Yeah, it is. But that would be, I guess, next. Like
But see,
if I were to
that's
upgrade.
part of the problem. There's always next.
Well,
It never ends.
Is
Okay, fine.
that?
That's
But
where discipline comes in. Then and you
okay,
gotta,
good
Yeah,
point.
yes.
What's
Right.
what's the discipline then? The discipline is to
Live within your means.
yeah.
Yeah. Which a lot of people in our country are not good at.
Oh, jeez, now you're judging everybody. Before you
Well,
just hard on
that's
yourself.
just a
Now you're
fact. That's just
attacking
a
everybody.
fact,
No?
right?
But why is that even a factor? Why does that matter? So some people have, some people don't. Some people spend too much. Some people are cheap and selfish.
I'm not sure why it matters. I don't know if it matters for other people. I think that we'll just have to look at ourselves and see if it matters for us.
Well,
Right? I don't know what the guy next to me, like next door to me, is. Whatever he wants to spend his money on, that's up to him.
okay.
To me,
Right.
I mean, it's not as black and white as this. And there's also reasons and
Well, let's
exceptions.
dig into some of this so we actually know where you're coming from.
There's exceptions and stuff, but it's is it not greed?
What's greed?
That always
want?
more.
To want beyond what's reasonable. It
So
could be
what's
greedy.
reasonable?
I mean,
I don't need to have 2 vehicles,
okay.
so I'm not.
Are you going to
reasonable.
drive your Stang to the job site?
No.
No. Are you going to drive your nice car up north, or are you going to drive your pickup or your truck up north?
But see, I feel like even having the options.
Why does it bother you? Like why?
yeah,
Like
wow.
you have it. It's not like you're like saying like, oh, you know,
No,
what, I
nobody forced
can't
me to
eat.
get it.
I can't
No.
eat because I have these 2 cars.
No, I don't have that issue, thank God. And see that one of the things too is coming up. We weren't struggling. There's always a roof, always food on the table. But when I was working with my dad at first, we didn't have a lot of work going on. Especially that was 2008 when I graduated and first worked with my dad. Right, so that was a bad time. That was recession at that time, was it not? And so there wasn't a lot. And I remember there was times where I didn't get paid, and I didn't say anything because it's more important, because I was working with my father, more important to have the roof overhead. I'm not going to tell my dad, no, don't pay the bills so I can get paid so I can
Yeah.
go buy candy, right?
Candy?
So that was a thing.
You're a little
that
old for
kind of-
candy.
that was a thing where I think that's where I got a lot of my work ethic, because it was like, this is not going to be me. Like, I'm going to make sure that I'm not going to have to stress about money. And like now that I'm not stressing about money, I see that I don't know if I'm taking advantage or taking it for granted or what, but like to me, it's like now it's like it's not the same as what I thought it was going to be. Like it wasn't like, okay, now I'm good. I don't have to worry about nothing. It's just like there is always more, right? It's like it doesn't stop.
More what? More worry?
No,
More
it's just-
problems?
Newer cars, it sounds like.
no, it's just there's always like where do you stop?
Where do you
Like
stop
you
what?
get-
Well, that's up to you.
Now, yes, yeah, no, it's true.
You're stressing me out, Nathan.
It sounds like you've got a very deep belief in this, and I don't think we've struck into it yet. But I think once it comes out, it's gonna be very eye opening for me. There's something I'm missing here.
Keeping him on the edge of his
Hey,
seat.
so
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking about work, but you're talking about like faith. So I mean, you've worked hard. You worked in your career, and you have a good position. You do what you have to do. maybe this isn't about your work as much as it's about your faith, because you put in the effort in your faith as you have your work?
No.
Okay.
Well, what do you think that you could do differently to I'm just curious, to strengthen your faith?
Well, that's, I think, part of the thing that I struggle with is I don't know where to start. I don't know really what to do. I think also, like, definitely a little bit burnt out to, like, you know, when I get home and try to think about this thing, it's like, you know, I fall asleep on the couch before I finish my thought. But no, that's just a good point. It is like that's I think part of my problem is I don't know where to go from here either.
Where would you imagine would be a good place to start? Assuming doing a podcast about faith, maybe not the typical first step.
I don't know. What do you think?
Open your Bible, maybe. That would be a good idea. Or even listen to a podcast. It could be someone else's. It could be this one again.
It sounds like you're on the right track, and it sounds like you're well ahead of
Christopher,
most
don't
people.
encourage him. He's definitely not on the right track.
No, come on.
He's
consciousness
using
is there.
smoke and mirrors. He's telling us about give to the poor. He just wants us to give to the poor.
He's not going to do it.
he did it. He told the other guy, "Hey, you like my car? Thanks."
Yeah, one day you'll have one too, buddy.
He peeled off from the light.
Not in those.
Don't touch my car, you dirty bum.
No.
Well, maybe I can.
All right, Father, Christopher, go ahead.
What do I do?
Yeah.
You mean for faith?
Yeah.
Yeah, you have
Okay.
paper. You better read it.
Yeah. I'll touch on this before I answer that question. When we're talking about discipline and not getting more than you need, there was when I was thinking of why faith is so important. I think that it's so important because it reflects a commitment that is maintained regardless of challenges or difficulties, right? So if you believe in your faith so much, and whether it's Christianity or faith in a mentor, faith in yourself, it sets up guidelines for you to stay disciplined, right? And you don't necessarily need to, I guess if you believe in it, there's less of a chance for you to veer off the tracks, right?
You're
that's what makes it
suggesting
so-
have a practice of faith,
Yes.
a discipline.
Because like you said, it's easy to preach it, and it's easy to say it when times aren't difficult, right? To practice it when times aren't difficult. But when shit hits the fan,
There goes our PG rating.
sorry,
It's okay. Just keep going. I'm just joking.
when the baloney hits the fan,
Dude, I think that might be just...
you know what I mean? Then all of a sudden, everybody, well, okay, maybe I wasn't right. Maybe that I shouldn't believe that, and then people just give in.
Okay, so...
But you need some sort of boundaries.
Okay, what's your discipline?
What's my discipline?
But give, like, in what sense?
What do you mean?
Like, what aspect
Well,
of
you
life?
said you should have a discipline.
But, like, in what are we talking about? Like,
Religion, faith.
Okay,
How you practice your faith.
what drew me so much to Christianity or being a Catholic, whatever the proper term is, that kind of gives you an idea of where I'm at, is just I really believe that Jesus is a man's man. Okay, this guy, what I like so much about him is that when everybody was going against him and calling him names and not believing in him, he still continued to preach. He died at what, 32? So call it 30 or 35, call it mid-30s. He went that long.
33.
33.
You're 33.
Okay, 32,
Oh,
33.
damn, I'm 33.
So
I think you're safe. It's okay. They're not looking for 33-year-olds.
he went that many years practicing what he believed in and shut everybody down, kept it going.
Well, his
He
ministry
went-
was 3 years, right?
Pardon?
His ministry was for 3 years. Before then, he was just a carpenter.
No, there's no way. So all those the gospels that was 3 years worth.
Yeah, besides, his birth, right? So, yeah, 30. Not bad. I mean, it's more
I don't believe
impressive.
that.
You don't believe? I mean, well, it's history, so I mean, I'm not making that up.
Yeah, but Mary and Joseph knew that the Son of God was in Mary was
Yeah.
at the Son of God. So
Yes.
he didn't all of a sudden be Christ at 30. He was Christ from when he was born.
That's a very interesting concept.
Yeah.
And it's true. However, I mean, a baby can't, necessarily like convert the world or preach. And there was like, I mean, as much as Jesus is God, Jesus is a man as well, and a person that developed from a baby to a full-grown man.
Fine, I'll start at 30 then.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm just giving context to what you're saying, right?
My point is that his faith was so strong, and he kept going even in the hardest of times. When he knew that they were going to arrest him and kill him, he didn't run away. He easily could have became a different person, went to a different country and become a different person.
But
he didn't.
You understand that Jesus fully knew that he came to die.
Yeah, and that's why it was so important to him to keep on going. Even though he knew that he needed to die to prove to people and the resurrection to prove to people that this is meaningful, that what I'm practicing, what I'm preaching is true, he still could have left. He could have chickened out because, who wants to go through the pain of death? Who wants to be crucified?
I mean, I get what you're saying, but I mean, literally, like Jesus did, like, I don't want to say came for a mission. He came for a reason. That's like he wasn't going to duck it.
Wasn't there?
How do you know that?
Wasn't
Because
there a time
that's
when?
why he came. He is God. He had the faculties to know all of that was going to happen.
I'm glad you said that, because now this is why it's so important for us to have a strong faith, because God and Jesus promise us heaven, the kingdom of God, if we follow. Right? If we follow the 10 commandments and the everything, all the different ways I mentioned of how to get to heaven. If we follow that, then we're promised the kingdom of God. And this is why it's so important for us too, not to duck and run when times are tough, when we're challenged, when the 10 commandments are looking us in the eye and we still do that one that's no good.
Number 6, I bet.
I don't even, I think I know what you're talking about.
Is that the one that's so
But you know what I mean?
That's the one he meant.
Pretty sure I have a feeling it's the one.
Was where I don't know the full context, but when he was in the desert, did he not ask God to spare him? Am I remembering this wrong? Was there not a time that he?
Yeah. That's murder. That's in number 7. Which one's adultery?
I hope that's true. I hope that's true.
What?
That he asked God to be spared.
Yeah, I believe it was when he was in
He
the
said,
desert.
"Let this cup pass from me, but not my will, but yours."
Yes, he asked God. He didn't. Only if God was okay with it. Like he asked for God's permission for it not to be him, but only if God was willing.
So, I mean, Jesus knew that he was going to die, and
We're all
I think
gonna
it
die,
will
though.
die like in that manner, like on the cross, that coming morning. But I think the cup was more like the cup of the suffering that he was enduring, to let it kind of pass, like kind of like
So not the
get me
whole-
through this, as opposed to get me out of it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that makes.
That's
more
what my minimal understanding is, because that is like one of the lines that are like, see, he didn't want to even die. Like, I wanted to get out of it. It's like, no, if he didn't want to die, he wouldn't have come down. It would be gone.
My point is, he is the perfect figure to believe in. He's the perfect figure to think about every day when times are good and bad, and to just remember that if Jesus didn't have haters, if he had nobody against him, his word would have no value. So in a sense, you need people that are going to question you and bring you down, to strengthen your faith, to strengthen your meaning. Otherwise, this
kind of have an opposite,
Yeah, I
but
don't know
similar concept. I would say the more faith you I guess possess or reveal or show in your life, you will more likely than not like have a lot of people that will hate you for it, which is weird.
Yeah.
Because the people that might actually be your enemy at times may be the same religion as you and may actually be practicing in a sense, right? So that's where things can be very like odd, because that's like a spiritual battle.
It's a competition.
Well,
Yeah, that's one way of saying it. I think we are all pitted against each other by something or someone in order to make us fall. And like we all kind of have little weak spots and little insecurities. And one person may be your kryptonite. We all like, yeah, it could be one. You know, there's some people that don't have fear, but they got a lot of other problems. Maybe worse than fear.
I think well, not all, but I think a lot of it stems from that, right? Like you're worried what other people think about you, what people are going to judge you. You think what...
Do you have that? I don't think you have that.
Yes and no.
Yeah.
I don't think I have a severe problem with it. I do want people to like me, but I mean...
All people or certain
if
people?
people don't like me for who I am, then I don't care. But I do want people to
What if people got to know you and they're like, nah, Nathan's not for me?
There's people I work with that don't like me, and it bugs me. I don't like it because to
Call
me...
them. I want to
Right
talk.
now.
Put them on Bluetooth.
What is life? The word just lost my mind.
That's okay.
Bring them on the podcast.
It's
Talk it out.
the reveal. We'll walk through the sliding door. What do you think of Nathan? He's a bum. Keeps preaching.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of times I'm confident in myself. And I mean, again, we're talking about work, which is not everything, but I'm confident in myself. And I also know when I make a mistake, I'm honest and I take the blame. And it's not, to me, it's always just like, okay, well, that's fine, whatever. I messed up. I'll take responsibility. How are we going to fix it? Let's move forward. Let's get to the solution, right?
Yeah.
And that's the same thing I do with people when they mess up, right? I don't like to nail people to the cross. I like to work it out, and because no one's perfect.
Went there, right?
No
Wow.
one's perfect. I'm not perfect, and we all need to work together. But that's why I don't like. I think that that's why you don't like having haters. Yeah, it might bring out the best in you and it might motivate you and whatever, but like realistically, the goal is for us to all have world peace and be together. There should be no
Just want
haters.
the world peace. This I feel like
Absolutely.
giving beauty contest questions and answers.
You think I'd
World
win?
peace, huh?
Would I win a beauty pageant?
I mean, we haven't done the swimsuit yet.
It's too early to tell.
I don't get this world peace stuff. Why keep going back to world peace?
that
Why
not-
do you think that there's supposed to be world peace? Who said there's supposed to be world peace?
Peace on earth will come again.
Are you asking me if that's in the Bible?
No.
Peace on earth will come again.
Uh-oh.
Well, no, I don't want
Our
different
heaven
clouds.
ended.
No. We just another bunch of clouds.
Was that the answer? Was that the right answer?
yeah.
We're good?
We went too far into it. God said that's enough.
One of yous is not coming.
That's enough from you guys, God said.
only have an hour.
Where did it go?
Let's rewind.
Do I have to rewind? I'm just gonna go back.
Let's listen to this one.
No, I don't want to watch.
Morning sunrise.
There we are. And I think one of you.
but what,
your
what's-
heads are.
Am I
too
blocking
far.
it?
No, you're good. There, we're just gonna rewatch that entire cloud.
what's your issue with peace on world peace?
I
You just
don't-
think it's unattainable.
I think that if you don't see world peace, it's not because one of us didn't, extend an olive branch. I think that there's evil in the world that will. We're going through that cloud.
Oh, yeah, it'll pass. That's a storm cloud.
Yeah, see, there's gonna always be evil. There's just until the end. I mean, I think that's for some people that's the only reason that they'll actually have like redemption, is because or accepting the redemption, because despite the evil things that happen in this world,
We persevere.
No, I'm saying that they keep doing bad things themselves. And now, I mean, this is becoming more of like a personal review. Like, most people in the world say like, well, I'm a good person.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think that's just quite not good enough.
No. And it's also, I mean, it's not that's true or not, but it's not, the problem with that is it's not, you're done. Nobody's perfect. You can always do better every day. I really believe in that. You can do better every single day.
Okay, so what's something that you can do that's better? Because we
so
keep
many
on
things.
Like what? I don't get it. I mean, outside of actually practicing your faith, I don't know what you should be doing differently.
Well, I mean, I think that's the biggest chunk of it.
So now this is becoming a personal decision as opposed to your relationship with outside people.
I think a lot of people though do have this thought, and struggle.
Like that. Well, so where I'm going right now is the areas of your life that you need to improve on and change. Doesn't it have more to do with how you handle yourself as opposed to how you handle others?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
So all this stuff about world peace and homeless people and people at work, it's not really the point. Unless you're practicing your faith and you're growing spiritually.
No, I think it's
You're
definitely
not-
both. It's not.
Don't say both.
No, it is though.
But what if you're already doing those things? What if you're, I'm a good person. Like everyone says, well, I'm a good person. I care about people. I don't
always do better.
steal. You could always do, sure. But if we have this effort that we have to, lean into, if you're already doing all that other stuff, what's the vacuum? What's the empty space that's not being filled? Usually it's your own practice. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm seeing nodding heads.
Yeah, well, I think it's all about self-reflection and taking ownership. I agree with you on that.
Thank you for your agreements.
If you can control yourself and fix yourself, if everybody was able to do that, you fix yourself, you fix your home, you fix your town, you fix your city, however
All
it keeps
that's
going.
you're fixing.
All that stuff.
But I'm saying don't even care about your town.
No, but I understand that. But if
Another
everybody
cloud.
took self-accountability, if everyone took self-accountability, then it would happen naturally. Now, the world's too big for that to happen, so I don't think world peace would ever be possible. Honestly.
So peace within yourself.
You got to start there.
Yeah. No, you're just.
The man in the mirror.
I thought that too. I was
Okay.
gonna say it, but I didn't.
I had a feeling.
Let me ask you this, Nathan. If you do move to the middle of nowhere, Northern Ontario, and build your own cabin and live there, how does that fix other people? How can you do more being so isolated from a community?
I wouldn't want to be isolated. I think that the overpopulation is what it's. So there's a thing and it's more of a work again because that's where I put most of my energy into. But the more people that are involved, the less efficient it becomes. Right?
Too many chefs in the kitchen.
So I think that's part of the problem. Is just the everyone being crammed in the same spot and the same thing. It's more chaos. If you have a small town and people know each other and know each other better because that's the only person you see, then you have a better relationship with them.
Yeah.
Right? Like I used to live in a condo and I used to smile at my neighbors every time I saw them and they just beeline past me. They didn't even like want to know. Right. And then there was also some people that maybe were a little bit annoying that I would try to avoid too.
Since we're on the topic of being honest.
But I think that it's like you said, the world's not too big. We're just too condensed and everyone's worried about each other. And we have this tool, the internet, where we can do an amazing thing of communicate all over the world. And we end up using it for mostly negative or, things like that. And
Not me. I don't do that.
Jason.
you send me some pretty mean memes sometimes.
Mean? People falling down? It's funny. What are you going to like?
What about that girl that was saying how people called her a baby? That one was funny.
You
Send
can't
somebody's
use
smile,
my
man.
memes against me. That's not fair.
No, I think that we need to. It's like impossible when you have so many people that are so bunched up. Like everyone is just. It's like becomes like a rat race.
Yeah.
Are we just talking about overpopulation?
Well, this
You're
is
not
how
moving away because overpopulation.
It's not
I don't
over.
believe it.
It's not over. There's not too many people in the world. There's lots of land, lots and lots of land. There's not a lot of convenience, but
Yeah.
there's lots of land.
Okay.
I think it's all
What
about
does that have?
self-reflection.
What does that have to do with like you growing in your faith? Okay, so you move up north. Okay, you're somewhat isolated. Then what? Are you going to grow a bunch of potatoes? Okay, farm's going great.
But don't you think that kind of community together that actually cared and helped each other would not grow and get to that?
I don't know. Are they a community of faith?
I'll be there to spread the word.
All right. Now you won.
I could challenge this.
Please.
Okay.
Okay. I actually I think differently. I think that everybody is doing their part to make the community what it is. From a construction point of view, you go to the grocery store, the roads were paved from somebody. The parking lot was paid from somebody. All the markings, the electricians put the light poles in. The guys who rented out the cranes and the boom lifts, they put the light. Everything went up. Okay, the structure went. So many different trades are involved.
So you're seeing the finished product.
Not
What goes
just the
into
finished
it?
product.
What goes into it?
But this is the community tradesmen. But not just them, even the inspectors and the designers, everybody coming
plays their
together,
part,
and building the community. So I'm not too sure that it really is like everybody's out to get each other and wants to be mean to each other. I don't really
ask the
think
plumbers.
I see it
The
like
plumbers
that.
hate the electricians. The electricians
Okay,
hate the
fine,
drywallers.
fine.
Yeah, there's tension.
But everyone is doing
Those are all
their
the
part.
different